Jeshan.
I'm Roxanne.
And I'm Faye.
Welcome to our podcast, Pop Lit Talks, where we'll be discussing The Hobbit by J.R.R. Tolkien, a popular piece of literature published in 1937.
So, before we tackle the book, let's know about the author first. So, what do you know about J.R.R. Tolkien? So, J.R.R. Tolkien was an English writer and philologist, born in January 3, 1892 at Bloemfontein, South Africa. So, he served during World War I, which greatly affected him, and unfortunately, lost most of his friends, which had an influence on his writing and his works.
He then became a professor at the University of Oxford and published his famous works, which is The Hobbit. The book started out as a bedtime story for his children and the epic sequel of The Hobbit, The Lord of the Rings.
He also wrote other works such as The Silmarillion and The Children of Urim, which was posthumously published and edited by his late son Christopher Tolkien. He died in September 2, 1973 at Bournemouth, United Kingdom, at the age of 81 from a bleeding ulcer and a chest infection. Hi again, it's me Florence, so now we will know about the exposition of the story. So, where does the story begin? So, the story begins by introducing the peaceful and adventurous world of Bilbo Baggins, a hobbit who enjoys the quiet comforts of his home in the Shire. Bilbo is content with a simple life and has no desire for excitement or danger. However, his life is turned upside down when Gandalf, a wizard known for his eccentricity, visits him unexpectedly. So Gandalf invites Bilbo to join an expedition, but Bilbo declines, preferring his safe existence. The next day, a group of 13 dwarves, led by Thorin Oakenshield, arrives at Bilbo's home. They explain that they are on a mission to reclaim the Lonely Mountain and its treasure, which has been taken by the dragon named Smaug. Yes, that's right. They believe Bilbo, despite being a hobbit and unaccustomed to adventuring, could serve as a burglar for the mission. Reluctantly, Bilbo agrees to join the dwarves, though he still has doubts about the journey. This marks the beginning of Bilbo's transformation from an ordinary, cautious hobbit to a brave adventurer. The exposition sets the stage for the quest, introducing key characters like Gandalf, Thorin, and the dwarves, and establishing the central conflict, the reclaiming of the treasure from Smaug. Bilbo's decision to leave the Shire marks the start of an epic journey that will take him into unfamiliar and dangerous lands, filled with trolls, goblins, elves, and other mystical beings. This part of the story is critical in setting up Bilbo's growth and the epic nature of the adventure ahead. So that's not just the beginning of the story, so we will know about more what the falling action,
Rising action.
our rising action, which will be talked and which will be talked
Not
by
by history.
Anne.
So,
Where does that, So, what part of the book interested you? Like, for example, the adventure. I think that's where actually the adventure started. For me, my favorite part was where they encountered the trolls. Bilbo Baggins was so witty when he talked their way out of the when they were about to be eaten. So,
About the roasted.
throughout their adventures, what were your most favorites?
Favorite one?
Sorry, journey.
That's their journey. So, how about you, Justin?
I think like my favorite part is like the journey itself, like since they they crossed so many places all at once, especially to Bilbo since he was like very unfamiliar.
Yeah, like he really stepped out of his comfort zone.
Mm.
For me, I don't think I really like the adventures, all of it, but what stand out to me is the world building, characters, the race, ano nga tawag dun? Moral something.
Ano moral?
Morality.
Morally wrong.
Standards. Their moral standards.
Yeah. And I think each character depicts unique characteristics talaga. No?
Yeah.
Ba't nagtatagalog na ako? Yeah, so, ikaw.
Well, for me, it's the part where they are in the, is it the misty forest where there is spiders? So when that, I know that the Baggins, realizes Bilbo Baggins realizes potential and help the dwarves from escaping the spiders.
Yeah.
Yeah, that one. What about you?
For me,
Di ba save mo ka? Sa trolls?
yung when Gollum and Bilbo,
Ah.
when they played riddles,
And we can also not forget that that's where also the ring appeared, in which Bilbo utilized it and
The
remember,
invincible.
Parang bitaw gaway pa siya, yan na nagka-ability siya,
Yeah.
invincible.
Yeah.
Oh.
and take note
Overpowered.
that is like a very powerful, a very pivotal moment since like the ring itself is going to be a very central point in the sequel.
Like, daghan siya gift, like, incidentally katabi tong dagger, yung gihatag ni Gandalf, like, it lights up blue and like goblin and something like that.
Like the Battle of the Five Armies, which is the most climatic battle.
Ang cute na rin.
And of course, we should also not forget the climax of the story, which is the Battle of the Five Armies. So what happened was, there were five armies, obviously. The goblins, the dwarves versus the men, elves, and the dwarves. And of course, si Gandalf, the powerful wizard, and also Bilbo, the Hobbit or the burglar. But unfortunately, as it was said in the books, it is a very horrible battle. So if I remember correctly, like it all started when like there was like a conflict between Thorin and the company since like they were like arguing. And like King said, like if like ang kanilang share ba sa treasure since Smaug was like killed by the bowman, and then it lasted like Canduil, the elves. And so like they were like arguing, and then when things got worse, Gandalf came to intervene. But unfortunately, there comes an even greater threat. The goblins are like mobilizing a full-scale attack from the Great Mountains and the Misty Mountains since apparently when they got wind of the death of Smaug and the fact that when they heard that there are like a gathering in the Lonely Mountain, they're taking this opportunity to unleash havoc and to also take hold of the unguarded treasure left by Smaug. So, as a threat of the goblins and the dwarves lives near, the three commanders, the commanders of the men, Bard, the elves, si Tanduil, and sa dwarves, ay si Thorin, of course, they all set aside the differences since, like, the incoming threat is a threat to all. And so, like, and of course, like, the question is, how many were there during some Battle of the Five Armies? And so apparently there were like a number of 500 dwarves. It's not.
Yeah.
There's a lot.
At first kay sila rebel tatong 40.
13 dwarves kaya mo pa itong mga relatives ni Thorin. And then Thorin then becomes a lake town led by Bardagowen ang gipada kay Smaug. And of course, in the other spur, okay, so sa other side kay na like the elf, na like the men and the dwarves. So like 700 in total estimated. Kung sa other spur kay na 1,000 elves.
Yeah.
And then like in between those spurs kay na like rear guard just to lure the goblins. Kaya para when they arrive sa major point, they're going to destroy them. And so when they arrive, the plan initially worked. But then, unfortunately, since dagan ang mga goblins and dwarves, so like what happened was like the allies did not take the advantage very long. So like, and since like dagan Manila, and then like there was also a second wave, which is like worse than the first one. And so like not only did they attack from the front, but they also attacked from behind and also above. And so as the battle raged, a great noise was heard. Thorin and his companions had thrown down a stone wall in which like killed many goblins, and then they set out for battle, in which they wore the best armor and the best weapons.
Best entrance.
And then like Thorin cried, to me, elves and men, to me, O my king's folk. And then they charged in a valley, to join the battle, in which like they advanced to the ranks of the goblins. But unfortunately, since their battle line is very short, their attack was cut off. And so unfortunately, like the battle wasn't like turned the tides yet, until a large army of giant eagles has arrived, which is led by the big eagle. And then like Bilbo saw the eagles first, and then which he shouted, the eagles are coming, the eagles are coming. And then like it spread throughout the army. But then after that, Bilbo was like knocked in the head. After that, which is like he was like knocked out. And then like after that, with the help of the eagles, the goblins were driven off. But then there were some point where the battle was really turned when Bjorn, which happened during the journeys of Bilbo and the others, had appeared since he got wind of the news that there were a large army of goblins. And so when he arrived, at first during the journeys of Bilbo in the wrestling action, he appeared as a man. But in the Battle of the Five Armies, he appeared as a gigantic bear. And so the tides of the battle turned now against the goblins, since like naman eagles and then si Bjorn. And then like, what happened was, he drove to the goblin lines. Like he was like very successful, killing many goblins. But then he saw Thorin wounded, and so he carried Thorin wounded. And then after like he put him in like a very safe place, he returned to battle. In which after what happened was, he's now facing the bodyguards of Bo, which is like the leader or the one leading the goblins to claim the treasure and to also attack the three armies. But then of course, since Bjorn was like a very powerful bear, and so he defeated the bodyguards of Bo, and eventually he ultimately killed Bo himself. And so the goblins panic, and then even though like, they were like scattered running for their lives, they were like killed by the hunting forces. And so like the battle of the Five Armies was over, in which they were victorious.
Yay!
But at the cost of casualties. Unfortunately, Thorin was mortally wounded, but then Philly and
Killy, one of my favorite characters. Like,
well, the reason why they died is because like they died defending him as Thorin lay on the ground. And then unfortunately, Thorin also eventually succumbed to his wounds after he saw Bilbo. And his last words were like, he took back the harsh words he said against Bilbo.
Character development. At least they reconcile.
Yes. And then after the victory, the treasure was divided among the victors. And with Bard taking Bilbo's share of the treasure in exchange for the Arctic Stone, in which what Thorin was actually seeking all along. And then, there are more negotiations. And then it is said that after the Battle of the Five Armies, or after the events of the Hobbit, there was peace, or the area in the north remained silent until the War of the Ring happened, which took place in the Lord of the Rings, the sequel to the Hobbit.
Wow. It's very,
Yes.
nice part.
And then what happened after the Battle of the Five Armies? Alright, so after the Battle of the Five Armies, what happened after that?
So once the battle ends and peace is restored, Bilbo and Gandalf began their journey home. Along the way, they stopped to rest with Bjorn. Bjorn ba yan?
Yeah, Bjorn.
Yeah, Bjorn.
Young bear.
Bear. A shape-shifting friend who had helped them earlier in the story. They also spent time in Rivendell, where Bilbo reflects on his long journey and how much he has grown. By now, Bilbo realizes he's no longer the timid hobbit who first left Bag End. He's braver, wiser, and much more aware of the wider world.
That's nice.
Character development.
Yeah,
So when Bilbo finally returns to Hobbiton, the hill, he finds his house up for auction by his relatives. Yeah. It's so sad for Bilbo because they thought he died, but he isn't. He goes for an adventure to
He
the
went
hill.
away for a very long time.
Oh yeah. So his relatives thought that he died. So gito. So they auctioned his house, his things. Yeah, it really is so sad for Bilbo.
But unfortunately, wala man
Yeah,
opinion.
he get his things back
Can
because
per
he bought it.
With the money.
Oh, with the money, with the gold.
He bought his own house.
Oh yeah, he bought his own house. So everyone thought he was gone for good. This moment drives home how much Bilbo has changed. So at first he was timid in the first part of the story, but later part on he becomes courageous and brave, and he defeats so many monsters and help his friends, the dwarves. So when he's happy to be back in his cozy home, he now sees the world differently. His adventures have given him a broader view of life and his place in it. And so that's what ends the story of The Hobbit. And there's a continuation book to The Lord of the Rings. So if you wanna read it,
Yeah, but it's like a very separate book naman kay.
Yeah.
Ako naman, no, book one.
Oh, why does Gandalf choose Bilbo?
Okay, so, no, okay, so man.
Di pwede.
Okay, we need to mention ni
Gandalf doesn't, but mentions
making good
that
candidate and trying too much attention. Ano man ito nature niya yun? Means kaya sabi na for adventure that only needs to be coaxed.
pwede replay.
Kami
So the first question.
Kami naman ni Faith.
Only kay for Thomas Mandiay, so like, what, why, when,
who,
and how.
Mas dito to katong diyan ni Faith niya pa.
Ano man?
Itong sa conceptuals.
Yeah, why?
Kay mura bitog na napakita ni Bilbo dito yung potential, and then murag na naliwanagan na-enlighten si Thorin na naali gamay si Bilbo.
I want so what they
O di ba naanat yung content? Just keep the camera rolling.
ano man ang atong sa what is the significance kay importante ni kay of course foreshadowing on what happens, and then katong sa why is the defeated the Trolls, why, and then who pinipan pa rin natin, bahala na.
Ano lang pinaka-question? For
the ways, what, and where, who,
Pag
how.
hindi wala na di ay pwede naman the why, yada yada.
why?
Kaya ito man interpretation
What do you
man.
think is the theme?
Dili! Ano mas yung tagal-palit ito?
Ulo pong talagang
Pala, sige. Okay.
Ano mo, gusto lang naman mo ito na.
Magkuhan ta change location.
Baba na tayo.
So now that we're done with the Hobbit, let us now explore our own interpretations and how we can apply it into our own selves. So my first question to each of you is what is the main theme of the Hobbit? Like adventure ba and then like coming out of our ocean parang sa pwede man nabisa sa mga kaya ito man interpretation ng lang also like response
I think the theme of the Hobbit is wisdom or like since namaning ng character,
Si
since
Bilbo.
Bilbo got out of his comfort zone to
Join them sa kanilang
join them,
adventure.
to have an adventure with Gandalf and dwarves.
But adventure also helps Bilbo to grow his life.
Yeah.
Because when he got out of his comfort zone, he was really discover about his hidden potential. For me, it inspires me to come out of my shell also, just like Bilbo, when he joined the dwarves to explore and have adventures to get the treasures.
That's nice. Okay, now for my next question who is the main antagonist in the Hobbit?
Goblins.
Or,
Like, goblins are already in nature naman, di ba? And then since like the antagonist is the one like blocking the obstacle of the protagonist, and for like the goal of the protagonist is the treasure itself, sa the mountain. So it's safe to say that technically Smaug is the antagonist.
I mean, in the first place, kay small constitute only.
And yes, like they can take from these transformators in the first place. Okay, ikaw man is Smaug. And the next question is, okay, so why did the death of the trolls of the Hobbit serves as like an important plot point of the story?
I think, at doon talaga na highlight ang potential ni Bilbo as a relevant team member sa kanila. Tapos, doon pa talaga ako natawa sa... Ba't ako nagtatagalog? It was just so funny how kanang i-burn bitaw ni Gandalf si kanang Thorin ingon siya na kanang katong tactic ni Bilbo nga kanang i-talk his way out of their kanang problem and then ingon si Gandalf nga kanang the likes of you wouldn't have thought of that. Kaya only si Bilbo rin ang
I remember that. And yeah, like what you said, it just showed like the hidden potential of Bilbo's like on his way out.
Yeah.
Instead of being just like the typical Hobbit like delicious adventurous,
He
timid.
isn't just a burglar.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, what about you? Yeah, you have an answer. Right.
For me, the song serves as a So for me, that song serves as the platform for Bilbo to come out of the shell and to show his potential and that's it. Show his potential and to
Prove that he's a treasured member.
Great, I remember said here.
Kaya hesitant ba so si Thorin he just went with Gandalf's decision. But then they realized like, ano din si Bilbo, they brought it to Bilbo.
Yes. Like I just said, he isn't just like a measly burger. He can also be someone else as well. Like he can also do more than just being a burger. And then the next question is, where in the story did the main theme in your own interpretation has been explored in the story? Like where in the story has the main theme been explored? Yan ang may answer.
Like, what do you mean? Ang main thing na to is adventure man.
Like, coming out of, one shell ba? Like, asa ba, like, nag-explore ba, ano ba? That's ba? Ulit, yawa. Okay, we're in the
Part of
shows the main thing with it. Okay, so for my next question, where in the story does it explore the main theme? Yeah, but like, parang like, like, in-depth ba na explanation, but for example, like, maybe like you have your own interpretation of the main theme. Like, for example, coming out of one shell, or like, helping together.
growing as a character development.
Okay, no answer. So for me, it's like at the end of the story, or like throughout the story, I think it has been explored like little by little throughout the story. Like Bilbo has been changing, time by time, as when they had their journey from Bag End to the Lonely Mountain, and then they're out again. And then, it changes, Bilbo, like, as a person, but not just, as sometimes said, like, a hobbit, like, very thin, and, he's not more aware of, like, what is beyond his own abode. And then, for the final question, how is The Hobbit considered as popular literature? Have any answers?
I think create siya as
Bedtime story for children.
especially sa mga it's like my friend.
Open to all ages.
Really, yeah. Yeah, but it's just fun. It is sad kay in a way, like, even though, like, for a children's bedtime story, even though it's like very, sometimes it's dark, but maybe it's somewhat appropriate for children.
In a way,
yes. But for me, the reason why The Hobbit is like considered as part of one of the most popular literatures of history is because that aside from like the its site accessibility and like etc. It's also the fact that the story itself and the world building behind it is like already set in stone way before he even wrote The Hobbit. So like in a way, like even though like there's The Hobbit by itself as a story, but the background by itself is like already like already made to give the world of Middle Earth, the world of The Hobbit and Lord of the Rings more in depth. And there's also not nothing for the fact that The Hobbit is also a prequel to The Lord of the Rings, which is also another form of popular literature. And that's all. Okay, so that's all from the talks about The Hobbit.
I hope that you learned a lot from this podcast. Don't forget to
like,
share,
And subscribe.
bye!
bye!